Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Good morning to you. Belated Merry Christmas to you guys. Crypto Beaver, Hewitt. Gathering. Oh, dude, you're here. We'll probably talk about all day today. He said, what were you talking about? I like your idea. Rented cards providing. I was reading some of the comments before I jumped on here. I saw the great question from Crypto Beaver. We'll definitely talk about that. Or where do we think the DAO will go in 3 to 4 years? What's that going to do for us as the Splinterlands, economy and game? Lots of fun things, right? Lots of opportunity. Interesting options happen if price appreciation happens. And you guys know that I have confidence that some of the tokens we're holding in that DAO are going to be explosive in value, because I think right now sentiment is in absolute gutter because bear market, because it always is in a bear market. Bitcoin is dead, people say, and you've heard it a million times. Is Bitcoin dead? I don't know, man. I can't see how. Like, even FTX, even all the craziness, I just can't buy that this decentralized technology that opens so many doors in countries and nations and across the world to exchange value and to hold value outside of a system where governments will say, you can't do X, Y, and Z. Well, people want to do X, Y, and Z on their own agenda and at their own time. And so freedom, liberty, like, these desires are real. There's a ton of people that have invested in and held that token for a long time for those, to reach that sort of availability and option, that sort of liquidity, that, and they're willing to ride volatility. And I don't know, man, if it was going to go to zero, I think it would have already done so. I just don't buy that it's now, like, now is something, the straw broke the camel's back. Even if Tether, even if, fill in blank for Black Swan event that we don't yet know. I just think right now there's a ton of anxiety, frustration. My bags are way lower, and that is translating into, Splinterlands is dead, because the two are connected. Whether Bitcoin survives or not is a conversation about the sustainability of cryptocurrency. And whether Splinterlands survives or not is a conversation around the sustainability of cryptocurrency. Because you either believe that this technology is revolutionary and bringing something new to not just finance, yes, finance, but not just finance. How about gaming? How about ownership? How about decentralized governance? Like, all of these are different. Each of them is a different conversation. And I think each conversation is powerfully important, and points to the fact that this technology is definitely not dead, and therefore I expect there to be a new bull market. Is it months away or years away? I don't know, and I don't frankly care, because I am having fun enjoying the space at this moment. And in my past experience, I've seen how the biggest gains are accumulated during a moment when no one's paying attention. And that's now. So my view is just keep your head down, keep doing what you're doing. There's a bunch of people out there. There's tension, there's anxiety, there's frustration. My bags are way lower. I saw a great video recently. I saw 2 videos. Let me comment on them now. I saw a great video recently, and I'm going to forget the guy's name, but I did shout him on Twitter, so I can show you guys. I'll mention it here. Brand new. There's lots of content creators, man, that are just getting started with this thing and enjoying Splinterlands for a variety of reasons. And stay with me. This will circle back to the DAO and where we see that happening. But I saw this video from this guy here. He lost 80% of his Web3 gaming wealth, and here's why I'm still into it, kind of thing. And so it's a longer video. I think it was 20 some minutes or whatever. It's a great video. Like, I mean, he's just talking to the camera, but he's kind of funny. He's charming. He's got some insights on not just cryptocurrency, but Splinterlands specifically. And he goes, yeah, man, it's been wildly volatile. I lost a lot of value. I learned some lessons in that process, but you know what? I'm not done here. I don't think this is over. I just think this is a bear market. And that's one take on where we're at. And that's my take too, by the way. You guys know that. If you've been following the channel, you know that's where my head's at. The question is, where do you think we're at? Because this is one view. This is the bullish view. Like, long term, we just keep our head down. We keep plugging away. We invest that time and attention. We're going to receive trivial rewards, and over a long enough time horizon, that's going to translate into something big. That's the bullish view. And that's my view. Otherwise, I would just sell all my assets, which are still sizable. Despite significant depreciation since the top, my investment is still very sizable, 50, 60,000, something like that. And I'm trying to add to it regularly. So I'm still super bullish because I think that's the view. I think we're in a bear market. I think there's frustration and anxiety and depression and, you know, there's that sentiment of everything is going to die. This revolution is over. There's nothing, it can't come back. It was all, you know, vaporware and nonsense. But that's just the sentiment of this moment. And I want to prove my point almost, because there's a video you guys might not have seen, or maybe did see, kind of blew up. It's called Worst Crypto Game Ever. And it's from this guy named Juan. Shout out to Juan. If you ever want to come chat about this, because, you know, I love Splinterlands. I cover Splinterlands all day, every day. And he did like a 30-minute video kind of crapping on Splinterlands. I don't think it was entirely unfair. He makes some fair criticisms around liquidity around DEC, but he misunderstands how DEC works and how our tokenomics work. He misunderstands how the cards have utility. He seems to maybe, I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, so I don't know his whole background around blockchain, but he speaks about NFT technology as if it can carry no utility, as if it is always just, you know, pointless. And he didn't seem to fully understand the fact that like many of these cards are sellable. And he talked about how like really that's not possible. You get the asset and you can't ever sell it. My point in bringing him up is that he represents the opposite of my view, which is this idea that this is garbage, it's dead, it's dying. There's no liquidity, there's no players, it's all bots. There's nothing good coming out of it or coming back to it. And it's just pessimism. But frankly, it's my view that that video gets a ton of views. It got 2,200 views in 4 days, and he's only got 260 subscribers. He's got 52 likes, and it's only, you know, he's a small little, like he's got a small channel. So what's my point? You look at the first video that I talked about, that guy doesn't have, I don't want to click on it because I don't want to start his video. But if I come on here and I talk to you about how Bitcoin's dead, or how Splinterlands is dying, or how, you know, the devs messed up, if I kind of speak dissent, and if I voice frustration, there will be so much appreciation for that content in this moment. Why? Because we're in a bear market. Not just a bear market, we're in the depths of a bear market. And conversely, picture back when DEC was 2 cents, which, you know, it was 2 pennies for a DEC, which is bananas. It's supposed to be 1,000 equals $1. It's worse than that now. And we're talking, well, 50 of them equaled $1. A 50, that's crazy. In that moment of bullishness, I've told you before, the comment section of my channel, and we could go back and look at some of the videos, but you look at, I talked about DEC is like way too high. Be careful, guys. That sort of comment, that sort of video. And people were like, no, dude, you don't get it. And they were accumulating SPS at 2 cents. And so you've seen this play out before. And my question to you is, who seems like they're standing on stronger foundation? To be shouting from the rooftops, it's all dying in the middle of a bear market, is almost by definition the sign of a bottom. And simultaneously, to be shouting from the rooftops at the tops or at exuberant highs, things are never going to turn around and we're only going to go up. That's exactly FOMO. Like, it's literally emotions being driven. And that's why some content like this gets so much appreciation, so many upvotes, so many views, partly because it frustrates those of us who love it. I saw one of my friends commenting on Twitter saying, like, this guy has been deleting comments, and he dropped a comment saying there's a lot of haters in here. I dropped a comment saying, I've watched half your video and I know Splinterlands. If you care to hear an alternative opinion, I'd say you're spending a lot of time covering the economy and getting several things wrong. Having said that, What I tell people is if you don't like playing Splinterlands, then don't try to earn with it. That's a point you make in your own way by mocking the game. It's gameplay. If it's not fun, don't play. It just happens to, I just happen to believe it is fun. Good video, mate, even if I disagree. And I do strongly disagree, and I'd be happy to speak with him if he wanted to, if he had any interest. I think for him, this was a one-off, but maybe because he's a growing channel and he gets like a blow-up video, I suspect we'll see more kind of frustration posted about Splinterlands because it landed. That would make sense from like an algorithmic, from like, but that's my point. Frustration will sell in the middle of a bear market. Exuberance will sell in the middle of a bull market. My question is, are you trying to sell people something? Or are you trying to tell them the truth or help them, or even forget about tell them the truth? Are you trying to recognize the truth for yourself? Because that's my posture. Like when I come to this, I'm trying to figure these things out. I actually believe what I say to you, but I'm constantly testing it. And just this morning, I saw a great comment. Let's have a comment on this. A Racket, who's been with the channel, dude. This guy's, he has his own channel. I don't even know what he YouTube's about, but he's been such an amazing contributor to the conversation around Splinterlands, and not necessarily in always a bullish way. Sometimes yes, sometimes very critical, and always thoughtful. So a Racket, shout out, buddy. Appreciate you. He goes, this is another sentiment test. He goes, I love you. I wish you and your family the best holidays, but I think you have rose-colored spectacles. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going in. So he likes the game, but he's like, Dwayne, because I'm talking about, in this video, I was talking about soulbound reward cards done well. And I saw gatherings in the chat gathering. I'd love to, you know, if you want, you pop on Discord and we'll talk maybe after I finish this kind of conversation, and then check in with the chat a bit. I'll give some shout outs here, guys, in a minute or two. But he goes, don't get me wrong, I'm still going in, but you have a knack for seeing negatives as a positive. Love you, brother. But I worry about these changes that reduce financial incentive to all. And this is a fair point, man. And I said to him, thanks, Racket. I see your concern. I'm not blind to the possibility this goes wrong. It could in a few ways. We do need liquid rewards or of some kind, or it's no longer play to earn. But it seems like there's a path where soulbound adds value without adding direct money value. Time will tell. And so everything, the devil is in the details, guys, on how the team navigates something like soulbound reward cards. I'm convinced it's coming to the game. And so then I have a conversation in a video like that, talking about how I think maybe it could be done well. And Gathering has done such a great job, you know, doing his own content around that. And you guys know I love that stuff, and I'm a big fan of your channel, buddy. My point is, even someone like a Racket appreciates what I do, is like personally thankful to me, is wishing me happy, you know, holidays, and I believe the sincerity of that comment, but then feels I'm being too optimistic. And so what do we do with these two worldviews? Because they're really, the whole conversation around the DAO comes back to what is going to happen in 3 or 4 years. And that boils down to that comment you hear me say so often. Do you believe that this game is fun and has a future? Racket believes it's fun and has a future, but is concerned about certain things. I believe it's fun and has a future, and I'm concerned about a few things. I think the team will navigate those well and wisely, to the best of their ability, not perfectly, but well and wisely. And I think we will grow and we'll gain and we'll see amazing prosperity, and it will take years, not days or weeks or months. And that's not simply a product, as some would say, as kind of bears and critics would say, it's not simply a product of like greater fool, which is one of the comments that Juan made in his video, saying like all these assets, whether it's crypto, DC, SPS, or cards, are just being sold to some greater fool in the future. And that's your opportunity in Splinterlands. No, the opportunity is the deflationary nature. Each of the assets is limited in number, unlike other NFT projects where there might be infinite copies of a certain thing. This one makes X amount, and those X amount are, you know, they have utility within a game that produces value. And you might not enjoy that game, fine, don't play it. You might not enjoy those assets, fine, don't play the game. But if you enjoy the assets because you like the game and you want to win at the game because you like it for its own sake, then set aside bear market, bull market, and just enjoy the thing. That's where I'm at. But behind that, even, I have that bigger confidence that that there is actually financial opportunity, because I have seen us survive a bear market. And I think the nature of these assets, SPS gets burned, DEC gets burned, these cards get burned in the form of being consolidated. You can articulate arguments against what I'm saying around, new packs and card inflation, but I think ultimately my point holds true, because older cards have different utility and newer cards have different utility. And so where did these things go? It begins with this conversation, this broader conversation. Where does the DAO go? What can that do for us? It begins with this broader conversation around, is this thing even going anywhere at all? I think it definitely is. I think we're in a bear market, and that's why videos such as that one by Juan blow up. Because if you say, if you express frustration that people are feeling, they'll grab on. Whereas a video like, I'll clip this later, this will get a few hundred views, but it won't blow up, because I'm not expressing animosity. And even deep believers at a moment like this, guys like Alrakid come on and they'll say, I'm concerned. And it's fair. I'm not dumping on Alrakid. I have concerns too. But I believe the team will navigate that to the best of their abilities, with wisdom and with their own interest in mind, which is actually unified with my interest. That's the cool thing about, capitalism in general. Like, if we are both rowing in the same direction, we can benefit from one another. I'm playing a game and earning through it. Those assets have value. They're making a game and benefiting from it. We can row in the same direction and both benefit. But it's time horizon, it's timeline, it's years, not months. And so, swinging back to finish the conversation, where are we at with the DAO? What's going to happen there? What sort of doors is that going to open? Well, I think the conversation begins with all that. And as you just heard me say, I think we are definitely in the depths of a bear market. Now, does that mean it's days away from being over? I doubt it. I've said SPS, I think, could go to a penny. The team has said that they have, I think it was what 18 months of maximum, like, sort of runway. But then I think the Christmas sale added some to that. So we'll see how that, I don't know where that leaves their money. It also depends on whether Bitcoin takes another leg down, Ethereum takes another leg down, because about 30% of their value, I think, was held in those two. So you can see that I have some concerns, and it's around their own sustainability. But I think even those concerns, I've talked in other videos about how I think they will navigate that. And I think their runway will be adequate. And I think they have ways of, even they've said they could sell partial ownership of Splinterlands, the company, and they would never release, a controlling share. But there's still so much opportunity to give them the finance they need to navigate this bear market, even if this is an elongated bear market. And I have no reason to believe it will be or won't be, but that is the foundation of the conversation. And I think we come out of it strong because of the preparation that the team has done and the layoffs that they did to financially make themselves viable for longer term. And that translates to preparation for the next bull market, which will happen, because I don't accept the idea that cryptocurrency is dead. I don't accept the idea that Splinterlands is dead. I believe, based on logic, not faith, and based on past experience, not guesses, that this game and this community and cryptocurrency broadly will rise again in a new bull market. And in that moment, we will see content that is bullish get thousands of views. We will see the game get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of new applicants. We will see SPS and DEC explode into values that are not justifiable. We will see card prices reach levels that is not sustainable. And saying at that moment, any content saying, guys, watch yourself, will be ignored, crapped on, disliked. So recognize these two rotations and think for yourself, where are we at in this? And does this moment imply that we're dead, or does it imply that we're actually preparing to rise again because of where we're currently situated and the facts that are kind of visible around this moment? Because if we're going to rise again, SPS is going to be going you know, it was previously $1. I think we at least reached that dollar. Like it was only there for a split second, and that was when there was limited liquidity and whatnot. So you might argue that's not super sustainable. And I know there's tons of it, but we do have this burn mechanic, and we have 5 more years where it's being created. So maybe that's, you know, maybe it's 5 years away before we get back into that range. I don't know. But I think he says in 3 to 4 years, where's the Dow at? I think it's far higher. And not to mention, we're adding new value to it regularly right now with Rift Watchers, and maybe in the future with something else, right? And also we're adding vouchers into it through the purchase of validator nodes. So the assets within the DAO are growing and will continue to grow. And maybe I wonder if they're being staked. I don't know the ins and outs of how that DAO is being operated, but presumably if there's SPS inside the DAO, it should be being staked to generate the 25% that's being provided through the SPS stake. 23.8%. And if that's the case, then this value, the number of units in that DAO continues to grow and grow and grow for 3 to 4 years, even if the price is currently declining, right? And so right now, it looks like, last I heard, it was a couple $1 million. They said it was a couple months of value, and they implied that they're spending about $1 million a month. So the last I heard from Aggregate, I believe, is roughly $2 million worth of value in the DAO. At the tops, there's around $15 million. I think between the nominal growth in numbers of tokens in that DAO, meaning there will be more and more and more tokens in that DAO, and between the price appreciation of each of those tokens, which I believe will happen, BEC, SPS, vouchers, whatever else is in there. I know there's other cryptocurrencies too. I believe that those will translate into massive, massive gains. And if we were at $15 million before, I think we probably are going to exceed that. And then what does $15 million do for a game like this? Under the governance of a decentralized ownership, right? Like you and I have SPS, we vote on how they get spent. One of the comments was that we would definitely put that towards Binance and get that listing and then have that public accessibility. Timing that with the next bull market is the exact sort of thing that would translate to the FOMO we talked about, where people will make comments, SPS is never going to go down again. In that moment, like you picture, we're heading up to, we're at 50 cents, we're at 75 cents, we're at $1, something like this. We get listed, we put through a proposal to list on Binance, we pay the fee, we make it to Binance, it goes to $2 or something crazy. Not because of fundamentals. Hear me. Fundamentals have nothing to do with the conversation like that. It's absolute insanity and FOMO in a moment like that, but it could happen, I believe. And if it happened, you'd see all the comments section talking about how they're doubling down, they're buying more SPS. And you'd see me saying, I'm selling SPS, guys, be careful. Because certain people want to ride the trends of emotion, and other people want to talk to you about what is probable and what the future likely brings, and also just trying to be realistic. So I'm going to be pessimistic when everyone's optimistic, and I'm going to be optimistic when everyone's pessimistic, for the reasons I outlined at the beginning, talking about sentiment and bear versus bull market. But that DAO is going to do crazy things. Binance listing is one of them. Now, I'm going to leave that conversation there, but if you guys have any comments on what I said or questions for me to elaborate, I'm happy to readdress that. But I'm going to spend some time here just checking in with the chat and grab a sip of my drink here too. I got a little Fresca. That was a nice little monologue there, boys and girls. Let me see what you guys are up to. There's a ton of, first of all, let me see who's in the chat. Because there's some long dialogue in here. What do we got? We got 22 concurrent viewers. 11 likes, guys. Throw up the likes so we hopefully spread the news. And I want to remember to make this comment before I move on. I see that we are at, my title of my video is Boxing Day Live, AMA with 1258. I suspect not many of you know what that means, because I actually think Boxing Day is like a Canadian thing. Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure America doesn't celebrate Boxing Day. I'm pretty sure the world doesn't know what Boxing Day is. But in Canada, December 26th is Boxing Day. And it's the day after Christmas. And it usually entails like Black Friday type sales. Now, if you're American, you guys know Black Friday. That's kind of new to Canada. Black Friday is a thing we adopted maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, really 10 years ago in earnest, and now it's everywhere in Canada. But Boxing Day has existed here for as long as I've lived, and I'm 41. So it's kind of our Black Friday, and there's crazy sales online and in stores. Yeah. But yeah, Boxing Day, that's why I titled the video there. Now let's see what you guys are saying. To make things easier, players could obviously go together. Man, Hewitt and Crypto Beaver had a great conversation. I might need to circle back there and see some more. I see some stuff around the bot problem that I might want to touch on later, but I'm not going to read it now because I want to just check in with you guys. Gathering, we will probably talk about it today. I hope we will. If you want, you pop on, buddy. Deus, good to see you, dude. I see conversation around soulbound cards and the battle pass. Good morning. Had a great snowed in our house. Nice, dude. We didn't get snow on Christmas, but we got a dump before Christmas. We got a full foot of snow, and then we actually got another, I'm going to say 6 inches. But it was separated between a couple days, and there was some warmth in the middle that allowed some of it to get rid of. And then today it's like 12 degrees, like balmy, like honestly a fall weather day, very different. And so all of the snow is just melting really rapidly. Dennis Pavlov, 2 easy steps to reduce botting issues severely are implementation of SPS stacking to get rewards. Yeah, I agree. And then the mandatory CAPTCHA every 3 battles. Can't bots just do the CAPTCHA? Well, first of all, I hate CAPTCHAs. Not to say you're wrong, Dennis. I do hate CAPTCHAs though. They're annoying, right? Like, don't you hate that? You go to log into whatever site and then you got to do that stupid thing. And then can't bots do those? Like, what? Am I wrong about this? Maybe they can. Maybe they cannot, but I assume they can. If honestly though, I'd be okay with that if I had to. And I do see your point around the implementation of SPS stacking to get rewards. That mechanic being a thing that would deter massive bot armies. They'd have to buy an SPS bag. So that's interesting. Yeah, we haven't really talked about that. Maybe I do a video on that, Dennis, because that's something that I haven't really mentioned recently. And that SPS staking get rewards is supposed to happen soon, right? I don't know when, but soon. I'll have to look into that. Reason you would feels the CAPTCHA wouldn't work. Okay, who else is out here? Astral Robot, X Philo. Blessings to you too, bro. Paul, good to see you, dude. Howdy. Web3 games will carry the next bull run because of this. People aren't selling their assets even after all the bear market. Yeah, dude. I think the strength of our community and the launch pad of our economy is the people who are here and who are holding tens of thousands or tens of hundreds or tens of dollars even worth of assets that have said, no, I'm not going to sell. I'm just enjoying this game. And if I accumulate something and it turns into something, great, but I just like it. And that's why it's so important that we all wrestle with that before we start getting dreams of riches and retirement and NFTs are going to change my life. Stop and say to yourself, is the game fun? And do you think it has a future? If you have that, if that's true to you, that is fun and has a future, you will persevere through any bear market, enjoying and accumulating. And when bull markets happen, because they do happen, and people like that who are living out of that fun and future worldview are the ones that will have accumulated assets that were trivial in nature over a long time horizon that explode in value due to the deflationary nature. And X-File is right, man. That's why, because there are people that aren't selling, man, and we just love it too much. We enjoy it. That means it's not that we're trying to sell on someone else's head. It's that we enjoy it. That's what critics don't get. They look at that like we're waiting for a greater fool. No, we're enjoying our time here. We happen to be accumulating assets, and that's going to translate into appreciation because we are locking up supply. We, the players of this game, we, the ones who love this thing, are locking up supply, which creates price appreciation due to lack of supply and at the same time as increased demand. Not to mention cards being consolidated, which is essentially burning mechanics. All of that leads to appreciation. That's the deflationary nature we always talk about. That's how we see gain. Not because we're trying to wait to look for some greater fool, but because we're having fun in the moment. And then one day, as others recognize opportunity, as bull cycles lead to exuberance, people who are new will come bursting in the doors and overpay for 2-cent DECs and $10,000 common cards and whatnot. Like, it's just, things go crazy because that's just bull market, man. Most of the views are SPL community, says Hewitt on that one video. I bet they are, dude. I bet they are. It's good to see a video like that blow up because it tells me, you know what it told me? When I saw that, I thought, okay, he you know, one, that implies bear market depths because that is blowing up. And then two, the ornery, passionate community of Splinterlands players is like, no, dude, like, that's not it. Like, let me try to help you realize where you're wrong. And then I saw him drop a comment saying these guys are like spamming and attacking, and I mean, I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. Did you get some thumbs down? I'm sure you did. But I mean, I don't think there's any sort of malicious response. Then again, to be fair, I didn't read all the comments. So if there was any malicious response, guys, cut that out. We don't need to be that community. Smoke Lord, good to see you, duty. I saw you dropping some comments in some recent videos, Smoke, and just kind of speaking to, I forget who it was. One of the guy, somebody dropping critical comments and just putting your 2 cents, dude. I appreciate it. Like, helping the conversation, helping the community, helping different people with different views kind of see it differently. That's great stuff. Thanks, buddy. Having battles. I've been battling on that comment section, says Xphilo. I love it. He probably has 1,600 dislikes. Whoa, I don't know. You know, I don't get, man, this is like a separate conversation. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but man, the fact that YouTube took away the dislikes, to me, strikes, like, it smacks of like just this softness. You know what I mean? Like, why can't we, it's like, we are so soft, like, and myself included. We are so rich, and, you know, everything we need, we have, and we're just trying to bubble wrap the world, like helicopter parents, and, you know, peanuts can't be in any school, and like no thumbs down because it's like, I guess, online bullying or something. I don't know, man. It all feels really like we're just so soft culturally. He has a gamer vision, which is all right. He doesn't quite fully grasp what Splinterlands represents. I agree. He's interested in analyzing the game. He didn't enjoy the game. And that's why I said in my comment, if you don't enjoy the game, then you really shouldn't, you know, you're not understanding the tokenomics. That was my first point. And if you'd like to talk, let's talk. But even the thing is, you don't even need to figure out the tokenomics if you don't like the gameplay. And he seemed to hate the gameplay. I mean, he was talking about how he didn't win a game. He played 20 games. I love it, and I always have, and I still am passionate about it. But yeah, he seemed like he is a gamer who is sincerely trying to understand blockchain, but also doesn't. And so that was holding him back. Gathering says the guy that lost value in his account, not that negative guy. Okay. Griffin Park is the name of the channel. Yes, that's right. Griffin Park is the one that lost the 80% of his value, and he is not negative. And yet, like I said earlier, his channel, you know, like, the video didn't blow up in the same way. And so again, that tells me something about where we're at in the bull bear cycle. Hello, Boxing Day from Scott. Tungchuk. Good to see you. Crypto Zard. Hi, everyone. We'll jump in chat when you want me to. I even listened to my wife and made some notes. I even listened. Oh, nice. So much to talk about. Okay, cool. Yeah, Gathering. Do you have me on Discord? If you have me on Discord, let me see here. I don't know if I have you on Discord, or Is your Discord name Gathering the Magic? Let me see. Gathering. No. Yeah, dude, if you send me a Discord message, either to infidel@infidel1258 or @1258, either of them those are my Discords, and I'll happily add you to the chat. We can just talk about soulbound reward cards, because I think I like where your head's at on that stuff. And I don't know, like Al Raka was saying, I think there's possibility for that stuff to go wrong. And I saw when Gathering covered a recent, like, he did a video on how soulbound could be done well. And then he did a response video to my response video, and he said in there, you would not be able to unbind them in any way ever. And I actually think, the more I've thought about it, I think if we have to do soulbound cards, and I think they make sense, and I think they're coming, I think one of the ways that they are going to be the best will be if they are bound permanently and they cannot be unbound. I think necessarily, if they are unbindable, the unbinding process will be benefited by brute force botting. What do I mean? If cards can be if soulbound assets can be unbound, that is only going to be possible through assets, whether it's SPS, DC, vouchers, and those are going to be accumulated through effort. And effort is always going to be that thing that bots have the greater advantage on. You know, they can play more, they can play non-stop. They can do different gimmicks across 1,000 accounts, whether they get trivial SPS accumulations on one, it can translate to accumulation on many. I saw Aftersound do a video recently talking about how one account had, I forget how many million reward cards. Dude, it was crazy. Aftersound covered this one account that had, his name was like Timothy or something. The account name is like Timothy Dew or something. I might be wrong. It might be Philip Dew. It's Philip Dew is the account name. The guy has like millions of reward cards. And so that tells me that bots through brute force will accumulate whatever assets are being given away to the game. And therefore they will be able to fight their way through unbinding in a way that will still be critical and problematic. Whereas we will suffer if we have to unbind. I think if we're doing soulbound, we need to have soulbound that are permanent. You could simultaneously, I think, have a reward card system as we do. But something I've been thinking is that we need to change the existing soulbound system. This is the existing list of soul cards, or sorry, reward cards. And I think, you know, we created a number of BCX. The idea with these is the Venari Heatsmith will have, I don't know, I think it's like 7.5 million BCX before it's done being printed. I think that's a mistake. I think the way to do this is reward card Z is going to be released for the next 6 weeks or the next 2 months or the next 3 months, maybe 90 days. Play the game, earn it. After that, no more will ever be released. And I think, yeah, that would require extra art, extra planning, but I think you would never see print rates that would translate into the sort of the sort of low valuations that you see here. I think something like limited window issuance of a reward card would translate, I think, to higher values for reward cards, greater payout for the player, and also more excitement for the player because there's this constant turnover. That's what happens in other games. Apex Legends every 90 days has a new season pass. The new season pass always releases new skins. Say what you want about skins. You might hate them, but some people love accumulating them, and their favorite character gets a new skin and they want to spend real money to get that thing. If there were cool cards that were available for a limited window like that, I think we would like to earn them, and I think that would sustain their value. And I think if the cards sucked, you would see people like the hours played, because the desire to accumulate that card would be lower. The hours played would be lower because the desire to accumulate that card would be lower. Whereas if the card was amazing, the hours played would increase. So I think you'd see this natural balancing, this equilibrium being reached, where reward cards would be smaller in issuance, in print rate, and that would add to their value, and that would add to the financial reward for players for playing. And it would give this thing where bots couldn't accumulate millions and millions and millions of copies of one card, because that literally just doesn't happen. It'd be like that limit, that finite window would restrict it in a different way. Because we've had Venari Heatsmith available. These cards have been out for over a year, and they've just been accumulating. So I think that's part of the problem. Maybe that's part of the solution too. I saw a message come through on Discord, so I think that might be gathering. Have a peek. Okay. Gathering notes. I actually sat up in my chair when I read that. That's awesome. Nah, dude, thank you for taking the time to think and make notes about something we both love this year. That's nice, man. Battle Pass would be a great revenue stream for the team. I think so too, Gathering. I mean, the team has gotten a lot done this year. Absolutely, Deus. Lots more to do. But, dude, this has been a wild year. I know the prices have fallen through the floor on a lot of the assets. But, guys, that's just part of a bear market. If you feel your mind saying like, oh, that means everything's dying, recognize that that sort of emotion and sentiment is like literally a cornerstone of the depths of a bear market. And there's a guy named Blockchain Backer. He covers XRP mostly, but he also covers blockchain just generally. And one of his things that he gave, one of the pieces of wisdom that I like that he gave, he said when Bitcoin was around 60,000, 40,000, even I think it was around 20,000, he goes, guys, you should keep an emotional journal. Like literally write every day how you're feeling about your investments in crypto. And he goes, when things are soaring, your notes are going to be like, it's amazing. And we're going to go to 100 million, billion, trillion. And like, my life's changing and I can't wait to buy that farm and like whatever else. And then when things inevitably come back to ground, to earth, you're like, oh, it's over. Like that's where your heart goes. And you can reason through that and be like, okay, this is sentiment. This is me just being FOMO or fear. And you know what I mean? Like that, it's a very helpful process. Eli, good to see you, dude. Thanks for dropping comments. I want to say Aggie has said like 5 million of the SPS is in the DAO is staked. That's great to know, Hewitt. So that means it is garnering more SPS, which means it is going to grow in number regardless of what we put in there, but we will put in more through purchases of Rift Watcher packs as well as validator nodes. Always take profits when you can, says Gathering. Absolutely, dude. Gathering Magic, and also pay attention to town halls and peak depots that act quickly. That's true, man. There's some gold out there, and if you see like real big facts being dropped by somebody on a card or around like a new promo thing, you'll see price swings on different things because our audience recognizes things at various paces. This is what I've said to you guys around monster flipping. It's also what I've said to you around watching new cards when they get released, because what happens is we don't understand the meta until somebody tells us. And it's like, hey, this card's really game breaking. And Coral Lurker came out and it was like 15-20 bucks. And then I think Bulldog did a video talking about how evasive demonstrating how evasive it could be. And the price just doubled. And it stayed there roughly. It's like a $30 card because we see the utility there. And I think if you can be the person who sees that, you can buy those deals. So whether it's staying on top of town halls and peak depots, or whether it's just navigating the system yourself and recognize those opportunities, there is those sorts of multipliers are so available even in bear market, which is really cool. CryptoZar, do you think tournaments will help with the growth of the game? I'm not so interested in tournaments, but I do see that a ton of people are. Whether it's the draft mode tournaments, which seems to have been a gigantic thing that the community desperately wants, which would trigger more pack sales, which is really cool and exciting. CryptoZard, I think it's bigger than I understand, based on sentiment, based on comments, based on, what I've heard from various YouTubers talking about it, what I've seen in Discord chat, what I've seen in my own comment section. You guys are excited about tournaments, even if I'm not. And so that makes me bullish on it. It makes me like very positive about it. Okay. Okay. I'm going to just, what I'll do, I'm just going to call you, Gathering. Guys, bear with me if the audio is like a bit off. Like we'll get them dialed in here. Okay. You're muted currently. Can you hear me? That makes me bullish on it. It makes me like very positive. Okay. I can hear you, but it's pretty quiet, and it's not the clearest.
Hello?
Oh, I can hear an echo. Can you turn down my my YouTube video?
Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, hang on. Let me just check the audio. Say something for me. Also, it's not the clearest. Gathering, say something for me. Can you turn down my my YouTube video? There we go. I'm getting a very clear hearing of my own YouTube video in the background.
Okay, there's just a delay.
If you turn off the YouTube video, and I'll give you like my live Discord, and you'll see everything and hear everything.
Okay, I've got your video paused now.
Cool. And then move down. Cancel. Okay. You sound great now, and I don't hear me. I don't hear myself anymore.
Yeah,
so,
I stopped the video.
Awesome. So, first of all, let's introduce you. I think everybody's going to know you, but Gathering the Magic. And actually, let me pull up your YouTube channel. Gathering the Magic. This is you, right? No, that's not you. Is that you? Gathering the Magic YT?
No, it should be just Gathering the Magic, and it should have a picture of Magic the Gathering cards.
Got it. Yeah, here it is. Yeah,
it's like 400 subscribers, something like that.
Yeah, 413. Yeah, guys. Gathering, you do a great job covering Splinterlands, and just from your angle too. I've been listening to you talk about the land stuff, and like this plot's taken and that plot's taken and this region's just sold out and so on. It's helping me think through kind of what I want to do there. I still have my plots. I'm actually buying some more. And then you do your pack openings, and I just love the constant and the constant and like commitment, I guess, to just checking in. Guys, you definitely want to follow them, and the great stuff on the Soulbound stuff. With what was the video called?
I think it was called Answer to Soulbound Cards or Soulbound Card Solution, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I posted it about a week ago.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Posted it on December 19th.
Splinterlands Soulbound Reward Card Solution, introducing Splinter Coins.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, he's got 211 views, so maybe you all saw that. But if you didn't, you should. And I'm just gonna grab a drink here. Hang on. So, dude, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you? And tell me too, because this is the first time we've spoken directly. Tell me more about like your story. Like, how did you get here? You're a Magic the Gathering guy, but like, just walk me through a bit of your start with Splinterlands and maybe with blockchain. And yeah, thank you.
Well, let's see. I think the first time that I actually saw Splinterlands was probably in 2019. My wife and I were living in an apartment while our house was being built, and I kind of remember seeing an ad, I don't know if it was a Brave ad or what, about Splinterlands. So I checked it out, and honestly, the first thing I thought when I saw it was the art looks cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of turned me off. I think it was probably beta or unlimited. It would have been probably February, I want to say, of 2019. Okay. So I was thinking about joining, and then I saw that there was like a $10 cost to get your spellbook, and that turned me off because I was like, oh, that's the last thing I need is to start spending a ton of money when we're just going to move into our house.
Yeah.
So flash forward to July 2021, I had started getting into crypto a little bit the fall before, and there was a show that I watched called Crypto Banter. and the two main guys on the show were playing Splinterlands.
Oh, cool.
And I thought, oh, I remember that game. So I went on the site, followed, they had a link, made a $10 account, and basically just went from there. My wife and I joined, I think it was the day before the airdrop started.
For
So we kind of
SPS,
got in at the perfect time.
for the SPS airdrops.
Yep, for the SPS airdrops.
Cool. Yeah, the and yeah, that was pretty. That was an exciting time. I remember the SPS starting, and I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, I wish I bought the pre-sale because I don't think I think you needed to be like an accredited investor though." But man, they were buying it for like 2 cents, I think,
Yeah.
and then of course we shot up pretty high. They, as any sort of new coin will at the beginning of its launch, there's just limited liquidity, and then you see those higher prices because of that, because there's a few interested buyers but there's almost no sellers. So we saw 95 cents according to live coin watch, and I think it might have been higher by other estimates. Now we're at 2.4 cents. Yeah, I mean, that was, what did you do? Tell me what you did with SPS. Like, how did that work? Did you just accumulate, or did you sell, or how did you play out in that
Um,
early year months?
I didn't get a lot of SPS in the first few months because I didn't have a lot of money in the game.
Mhm.
I didn't have a lot of cards. I was basically just starting from scratch. The first SPS I think that I actually bought, at least a significant amount, was this past February.
Mm,
I remember I bought SPS when it was around 14 cents,
mm,
and I managed to get, I think, like 7 or 8,000 SPS at that point.
cool.
Because I'm like you, I believe SPS is, I mean, you say $1, I see it going 3 to 5.
Yeah,
No time soon, but probably, 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I say a dollar because I think that blows most people's minds, and yet
Hmm.
I think it's really conservative. I think if you look at validator nodes, and I think you've covered these too, but validator nodes to me tell a story of where we can imagine things going, because the node prices, um, the nodes almost, for them to sell, the SPS and DC or SPS and voucher prices need to go far higher before those new sales will be justifiable. Can we look at that? Guild skins, potions, licenses. Where I forget the mechanics now, but yeah, the node licenses produce X amount of SPS and vouchers, and those prices like do not justify the purchase price of a node at this moment. But between the floor prices they allow for SPS, or no, for vouchers, I think it is. Yeah, they allow like a $3 floor price on vouchers, and vouchers are like pennies, man. Um,
Hmm.
and so I think all of that, to me, just like you were saying with SPS, there's an implication to me about a staggered and long-term appreciation on those assets. Plus, SPS is limited. Like, yes, it's a huge number, but it ends like in 5 years from now. I think roughly it just stops being produced unless we create some sort of proposal where we want to create new SPS to incentivize the continued validation operation or something like that. I think I'm super. I think prices go really, really higher, and for just like you said.
Well,
But
I'm super bullish on vouchers. I mean, I think I actually, that was one of the notes that I wrote down, was why aren't more people getting into vouchers right now? Because the only way you can get vouchers are having staked SPS, which when I had 15,000 SPS staked, I think I was getting zero point 0.6 vouchers a day,
mm,
and then validator nodes. So yeah, I know there's not a lot of utility right now for vouchers, and they're 7 cents,
yeah,
but we've seen vouchers go 50 cents to $1. So
yeah,
to me, the easiest asset in Splinterlands that can 5x, 10x, 20x are going to be vouchers. So
mm,
part of my strategy is when I get my GLX airdrops every day, what I'm doing is I'm taking half of it and just putting it in the vouchers and just
interesting,
building up as many vouchers as I can. I
interesting.
mean, SPS is going to 10x, but no time soon. DEC, we kind of know the ceiling is going to be 1,000 per dollar. vouchers really don't have a ceiling, and the ceiling that we have seen, roughly $1, when a new set comes out, like Rebellion,
Hmm.
like you can't tell me that vouchers are going to be 7 cents when Rebellion comes out, and
Yeah,
you need one voucher per pack.
I know.
Whether it's 50 cents $1, I don't know, but I know it's a 7x or more from where we are now. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm loading up now.
Yeah, I think I hear you, and I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Especially when you say you compare it to say where the explosive nature of SPS or DC. I think you're making a strong point that this is the one that's most poised for kind of a shorter term price appreciation, because Rebellion is when April, March, June, something. It's like June maybe next year,
Hmm.
something like that. So
Yeah,
it's not
somewhere in there.
that's not far away. I mean, this is like these to me. You're making one point why vouchers have a real fundamental possibility for appreciation. I would argue that's just that's a known value. I think there's also gonna we've constantly heard there'll be more and more things that will be used for vouchers, and that
Planned.
voucher, and I think that's a place where when they say that, I trust them. And some people have accused me of having blind faith around that. Can maybe let me have your opinion on this question. If Do you put much weight in this implications from the team that vouchers will have increasing utility, not just from things like the Rebellion packs or from, in this case, Rift Watcher packs or whatever pack, because that's like a once in a while desire and need. We need, I think, sustainable justification for holding SP or vouchers so that
Yep.
they would then appreciate. Do you see and that their comments hold a lot of weight? Do you believe that? If you have doubts, let me hear that around the implication that vouchers will be more needed in the future.
Yeah, I think vouchers are definitely going to be needed in the future and probably right around the corner sooner than people think. Specifically, land. I think land would be a fantastic voucher sink.
Mm,
Just for something as simple as when you use your buildings and your buildings need to get repaired. Is the repair cost going to be simply like wood or stone? Is it going to be you have to spend 300 DEC, or is it going to be, hey, spend a voucher? They've
mm,
also talked about traveling in land to travel from one area to another. Think of a voucher as kind of like a train ticket. Spend a voucher and you instantly travel to that other area on the map. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do, and I think they will
yeah,
implement a lot of voucher sinks in the future.
yeah,
The key is going to be when it is a repeatable sink and it in small amounts,
yeah,
like say one voucher here, two vouchers there.
yeah,
I think the problem that they've had with vouchers is you need to have 100 or 500 or 1,000.
yeah.
And most players don't have that, but
Mhm.
a lot of players may have 10, 20, 30 vouchers just sitting on the sidelines they can't do anything with. But if it's like, hey, if I spend a voucher and I can instantly repair my building so I can start producing more things on my land, people are going to start just burning through these vouchers. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's another reason why I'm accumulating now before the known sinks are basically known to the public.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, especially what you said around the voucher burning mechanics need to reach to the place where it's going to be these smaller increments. Because you're right, like when Rift Watchers comes out and it's like, hey, if you buy 10,000 packs and you have 2,000 vouchers, then you'll get 2,000 free packs. Like, okay, great, but that's what there's is there 100 people that take advantage of that? I mean, it's not tens of thousands of people. It's not every single day. And a point I wanted to add there is those sorts of sinks, those big sinks for those gigantic buys happen not just few times, but irregularly and all at once, and then silence for like months and months. And that
Exactly.
and that translates to, you can see price spike from, maybe it goes from 7 cents to 10 cents before something like Rebellion, because smart people who want to do those gigantic buys are accumulating them daily now, so they don't have to panic buy them later. And then there's only really a few people who aren't prepared. But that's only possible. That sort of lack of craziness is possible because there's not a daily need or maybe a regular need or a regular justification for burning one or two here or there. And I like what you said. It made me smile thinking about like a train ticket because it's thematically kind of appropriate too. It's a voucher. It's like a, so it kind of, and we've got this universe, this land that we could theoretically navigate. And you're right. They've implied that we will. I think that's cool, man. I think that makes a lot of sense. And if it was just
What
one,
about vouchers also used to level your buildings?
yeah,
Like in the beginning of when we start building our buildings, of course, no one's going to have any resources. So I'm thinking to build your building from level 0 to 1 is probably going to be like guilds where all you spend is DEC.
mm-hmm.
Maybe say, hey, level 1 building, 1 voucher. You want to upgrade it to 2 vouchers, level 3, whatever costs, 3 vouchers, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think it all points back to your point around the price being really inexpensive. I'm not so convinced that it will wildly appreciate before Rebellion, but I am convinced that it will wildly appreciate, and that it is your point of it being probably the first that would see that sort of opportunity makes sense too, because there's lots of like obvious burn mechanics that we already have, and there's others that can be introduced and that should be introduced. And it just I do
Leveling your soulbound cards,
yeah.
burn vouchers, and help level your cards.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a great sync if you tie it to a dollar amount. I mean, you don't want to say 1 voucher basically levels your card, 1 BCX worth, because if vouchers go from 7 cents to $1, it wouldn't make sense. But let's say, like I had the idea for splinter coins for soulbound cards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you tie a 5-cent value to each coin, and it takes 60 BCX to get a common to level 5.
Yep.
And you say each BCX is 5 cents, then just say every 5 cents of vouchers that you spend is 1 coin to help level your cards.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a great sync for vouchers and a great sync for DEC to start getting rid of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And you're totally right. You wouldn't want to say 1 voucher or 1 anything, splinter coin even, because like if there's a real world opportunity to buy those things, like you talked about, maybe I could put fiat currency to buy more splinter coins so that I could buy more of these soulbound assets, then it's conceivable that there'd be the price of these. The price of an asset can detach from US dollar value. And so It's like, just let the US dollar value be the governing factor. Is it 1 voucher? Is it 50? Is it 1 splinter coin? Is it 50? Like just the USD value underlying it could be. And that's where we're at right now with SPS. And when you buy Riftwatcher packs, you need $5 worth of SPS, which is part of the reason why I just refuse to buy Riftwatcher packs with SPS. I'm buying some with DEC right now because I'm interested a lot. I think Riftwatcher is quite powerful, and I don't want to derail, but I love Riftwatcher. I think it's a really interesting and powerful pack. But actually, you brought up the soulbound reward cards. Let's focus there for a few minutes because I do think that's really I think that's one of the things that's happening for sure. I think the team is excited about it. I think it seems to solve a lot of the concerns around bot armies. It's not going to fix it perfectly, but in my view, it would be providing one significant financial reward. Yes, it is financial to a player like yourself, because it's going to give you these assets that you can play with that can translate into more wins, which is more rewards from the game. So I think of it as a financial thing, but I also think of it as an appreciation to real fans of the game more than a financial benefit in the short term. And so I think that is going to incentivize human players who love the game and disincentivize, or at least be neutral to bot farms who really couldn't care less about the accumulation of things that they can't liquidate. What do you think about that? Do you think I'm right about that, or do you think I'm like missing the point on something? Let me know just your thoughts on the why is it so beneficial? Because it seems like you think soulbound cards are going to be beneficial.
Yeah, I think soulbound cards would solve a lot of issues. For one, it would solve the print rate issue that they have with reward cards. because the cards that are soulbound are strictly in your account. So it really doesn't matter how many are printed because they can never be exchanged one for another. Now, one of the ideas that I did have for soulbound cards, and I think I covered it in the video, was let's say as the years go by, your older soulbound reward cards aren't usable in the newer formats. Well, one idea I had was you could burn the old soulbound cards, get an equal number of coins, and then basically use those coins for the new soulbound reward cards. So it does give you a lot of flexibility that way.
Interesting. If you did that, you'd see. Don't you think? This isn't a criticism, but an interesting note. I'm thinking about that would mean you would see a significant amount of deletion of older assets because people chase new always. But some people would hold those old assets. There would be no financial direct sellable value for those. But I think certain older reward cards would become so rare. And I think we talked in
But
comments.
you're not burning them.
No,
You're swapping out. And if you wanted to, you could swap back.
That was going to be my next question because you talked in one of your videos, and I kind of back and forth we exchanged thoughts around what about being able to access old reward cards that are no longer in print or whatever, the soulbound ones. So you're saying you could just move from one to another. I almost think you'd want to limit the movement of one to another. Like maybe there'd be some sort of like deflation to that. Again, it doesn't matter because you're right. The print rates don't matter because there's no monetary value. But would it be, no, maybe not. Maybe it would be okay to just like burn one for the other. But I kind of
swapping. Now you could do like a cooldown effect so you can't constantly do it. Let's say you burn a card, let's say it's a common from 2023 soulbound and you want to get the current, let's say we're in the year 2025, you want to get that version soulbound card, burn the 2023 one for the 2025, and then maybe there's a week cooldown before you can burn that card to change it for another one, something like that. So you have flexibility, but there is a little bit of a time limitation to it.
I think it would be cool if there was limiters on how that played, whether you just said cooldown or whether it was something like certain reward cards are available at certain seasons. Like there, you can imagine like an icy soul card, like a soul card that is like ice themed or that is like sun themed is available in a certain season of the year. And the reason I say that is because there's a window of time. Forget about like what you justify it however you want with lore, but there's a window of time where this card's available and not at other times, because I think that would create this sense of excitement in the moment for playing rather than I can get it whenever I want.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And so I don't know exactly how to think that through, but it might mean maybe when you trade from one card to another, you can do that. But I also like the idea if there was some sort of negative to that. Like maybe you've got 50 splinter coins in one card and maybe you get, 25 back or 40 back or something to then spend elsewhere.
Returns.
Not because inflation, like you said earlier, these cards are not really, we don't need to be worried about print rate on these, but at the same time, it would just it would disincentive. It would be a disincentive to just this constant back and forth, and it'd cause caution and like thoughtfulness. But it also might mean, see, one more positive could be if I can burn X card for 4/5 of its splinter coin value to liquidate and create more buying opportunity for the new card, that's great. But then what if also if I can't quite get enough splinter coins through burning the card because some of it's lost, well then maybe I have to take to the marketplace to buy more splinter coins, like you said, burning vouchers or burning SPS or burning DC. So it would be this draw or this sink in a bigger way than if you could literally just trade at without penalty.
Yeah.
Just thinking it through though. Love it.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking too is, like, let's say you get smaller amount of coins, you build up a common to say level 5 or level 6 or whatever. The next year comes out with all these brand new soulbound reward cards, and you're like, oh man, I love the Death Splinter and I love that soulbound legendary. You could burn a common or a rare or an epic, get the coins, grab that legendary. It gives you a lot of flexibility. I
Hmm.
think it would be a lot of excitement around the beginning of a season where everyone's like, oh, what are the new soulbound cards going to be? Oh, which ones am I going to keep or, burn to get coins to grab these new coins or new cards if they come out and everybody wants them.
Hmm. Yeah. I see a couple comments from the chat that are related, so let's have a peek here. Crypto Beaver says reward cards are packs should always have an end date of availability. Once we hit the date, it's over and new sets are issued. I actually commented earlier in the video around that maybe, and I like that too. Like if there was, I think it would be more work from the devs. It's easier to make one pack and give 15 million packs out there and just let it sit and then they don't have to worry about that. But I think from a gameplay perspective and from a optics, just having the pack sit on the marketplace and then issuing a new pack, like they've done with crypto, they still have 5 million packs worth of chaos, and then they listed Rift Watchers. Neither are really selling. Then there's all these different things. I think it's a bad optics. I think we need to, whether it's 9 months, 6 months, there needs to be windows around how many packs are issued. I think maybe some sort of mechanic around reward cards like this too, where it's like, it's this window of time, not 15 million copies, but this window. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Actually, that was one of the notes that I wrote down was how to solve the print rate issue for both of them. For Soulbound, I think it should just be the cards. Oh, I guess the cards would be in perpetuity, basically. Once the set comes out, let's say January 2023, they come out with Soulbound reward cards. You can level those as much as you want for this year, next year, going forward. As far as card sets when they come out, my idea was get rid of print rate completely. Just, okay, this set's coming out January 1st. Main set, you can buy it from January 1st to June 30th. We will keep a tracker on the site to show you how many sell. At the end of every month will be the airdrop. So January 31st will be the first airdrop. End of February will be the second airdrop. And June 30th, we will show you the amount of packs that sold, and that's that. July and August, no packs, so you've got a 2-month cooldown. And then starting September 1st, the mini set will come out, be available for 3 months, September, October, November. At the end of November, no packs for December to just kind of give a little bit of space until the next main set comes out the following January. So that way you've got a little bit of cooldown, no packs available for each set to give people kind of a breather and, a chance to, just not spend any money and not have to worry about that.
Yeah,
I really don't understand why they have print rates to begin with, because we can see the problems it caused with Chaos Legion.
Yeah.
I mean, they committed to 15 million packs. What if the 15 million packs had sold out the first month?
Yeah.
And we would have nothing for months.
Yeah.
And as we saw, they printed too many, and now they're talking about burning. Well, if you don't have a print rate that you put out there, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about burning packs. You're basically print to demand.
Yeah.
And Magic the Gathering has done this for 30 years.
Yeah.
They still have investors. They still have collectors. They still have players. So my idea is just completely get rid of how many packs are available, set your release dates, and just let it fly.
I like it a lot. And I think it would have implications that are worth discussing, but I think it's beneficial because look at what happened with Untamed and with Dice. They ended up being, when they were sold out, we were not ready to release new ones. And there was a period of time where cards prices were blowing up because we had exuberance and FOMO, people entering the system and needing cards, and there were none to buy. And so that is perhaps beneficial to holders of assets. It's not beneficial to the long-term growth of new players entering the system. You always, I think, want to have assets that are available or a scheduled release of assets where people can say, okay, in 3 months, I'm going to be able to get the next set. There's a hiatus right now, but I'll just chill. I think that is better from like a new player perspective, which is better for a long-term game perspective. Yellow, who again, one of the guys that supports the channel all the time, comments tons of great stuff. He goes, Tails had a good idea to, in like Gods Unchained, use vouchers to craft an NFT reward card. So basically, soulbound reward cards with some vouchers become NFTs, and this is the idea I see really being it's almost running in conjunction or maybe alongside the idea I hear you saying, which is no, soulbound reward cards should be soulbound, period. Because that's your first, tell me if that's your idea. I want to know.
Yeah.
You like never unbind them. But then if you say never unbind them, talk to me about, like, because it seems like a lot of people, including Tails, who I have got respect for, and Yellow, who I have respect for, are saying like, no, like, what about we just, in some ways we can unbind them? Because talk to me about that. But then remember that the concern people have is you're going to take away all the rewards. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think if you make soulbound reward cards unbindable or sellable, you're right back to square one. You know, bots will find a way around it, even if it's vouchers. You know, they can buy vouchers and just, you know, unbind the card, sell the card, and now we're back to square one. So I think the soulbound cards need to be permanently soulbound to your account. You know, like I said, and like you said, the more you level these cards through playing every day, earning your coins, building them up, the stronger your deck's going to be, the more likely you're going to win, you know, your rank battles, and your, you know, if you do guild brawls, you'll win more in guild brawls. So, you know, I'm kind of really heavily shying away from soulbound cards ever becoming unlockable and sellable. To me, not everything in the game should be sellable. To me, the only things that you should be able to sell in the game are things that you actually paid for, not things that you're given for free. I mean, if you buy packs, then definitely those packs and cards in those packs should be sellable. Land, totems should be sellable. I mean, you can't sell potions, and those are given to us. You can't sell merits; those are given to us. So I definitely think that soulbound cards should just stay soulbound.
Yeah, I'm with you. There is the suggestion comes out of, from that side of the aisle. I think the suggestion comes out of a place where they're taking away all the rewards if they take away those reward cards that are liquid. So do you think that we should have some liquid reward cards? Should all reward cards be soulbound? Should there be kind of one type that is liquid and one type that's soulbound, or what?
Yeah, you can do one of each. You can do regular soulbound card or regular reward cards and soulbound. Just don't expect regular reward cards to ever be worth more than a penny or two. Because we're back in the same boat. Bots will farm the reward cards, sell them, and dump them. So you'll have one pool of reward cards that won't be worth hardly anything, and then the other pool of reward cards that are soulbound that you can't sell, but you know they'll help your deck and they'll help you with earnings and winning games.
Yeah, I love that. I'm with you. That's exactly where my head's at too.
The only thing is, it's just more stress on the team. You know, now they got to come up with two sets of cards every year: one soulbound set and one, you know, sellable reward card set. So it's just more demands on them.
Yeah, and if that's, I don't know if that's navigatable, or if that's too big of if that's a bridge too far, technically speaking. But if it's possible, I think that it is beneficial for a million reasons. And I think it has some implication for the bot armies, dissuading, or at least providing less, like I said, neutral to them at least, and maybe negative to them at best. Because I think I would like to dissuade bot farms, as everybody I think agrees, except for the bot farmers. And so
I have a couple ideas for that.
Yeah, I think this is part of it though. And I think interestingly, if you had a good amount of soulbound cards that were available for your time and attention, then I think we start to, one of the also simultaneous concerns, like I've been alluding to, who are critical of soulbound cards are critical because they feel it will take away the rewards and that'll hurt the new player experience. But here's the thing, soulbound cards in my mind are a benefit to new player experience, because it means you can accumulate assets that allow you to receive rewards, cards that you can play with, that are not going to be starter cards, that are not going to diminish your, the reward points you earn for play. They're not going to diminish you get bonuses. So it's this asset you can literally earn through time and attention that we can give away for free, almost like you said. I'm going to say carelessly, but you said like we don't need to be worried about print rates because there is no economic implication for there being too many copies of card X if it's soulbound forever. And I think as a result, we can hand these out as often as, like, again, on cycles and through windows within the year, like maybe it's a 90-day cycle for in conjunction with a season pass, 4 season pass per year, maybe a season pass is $20. You play daily, you earn cards for free. Those cards are yours permanently. They're on your account. They're giving you bonuses to the reward points. So new players are earning assets for the price of admission. Like that would be setting up a price to play that's truly a price to play. Right now, to be fair, and one of the critical comments that Juan guy made in his video was, look, it's free to play, you say, but then you're gonna spend $10 to get any sort of rewards, and frankly, you need to spend hundreds more to be competitive and thousands more to really have and that's not untrue. I mean, there's truth to that. That is part of what Splinterlands is, and I actually think that's actually a benefit, not a bug. But people who are new and who have no money are going to see that as a hurdle to get involved. This soulbound option could be a thing. You enjoy the game playing it, you're liking it, and you're accumulating collection power, cards to play with, resource point bonuses, all for free. Not for free. You have to pay $20 to get your season pass, which starts this whole thing going. But man, relatively for free. And like Apex Legends, which I've said before, if you could do things where they give you play your season pass costs $20, or let's say 20,000 splinter coins or whatever, or however many. You said they're 5 cents each, so $20 divided by 5 cents each, that many splinter coins to buy a season pass. And then within the season pass, you're going to get not just soulbound cards, not just maybe skins or aesthetic things that are just cool to have, but you're also going to get splinter coins. In my mind, this is part of the puzzle too for new gamers. You're going to get splinter coins for that time and effort. And in Apex Legends, if you spend $20 to get a season pass, you're actually going to receive, I think it's about 1,200 Apex coins before the end of the season if you play all of the dailies that they give you. And those splinter coins Apex coins are equivalent to you being able to buy your next season pass for free, and have a little bit left over to spend on skins or whatever. And so that sort of mechanic would be one where it incentivizes significant increased play by real humans daily, commitment to regular play so you get those benefits and bonuses, rewards for the lowest level with one sticker price that truly opens the doors. And yeah, of course, you always could commit more to buying packs, to buying expensive cards, to climbing your deck and fighting at the highest levels. That's always going to be there with a game like this. But I think it opened the door to a new player experience that would be better. Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I don't really know a whole lot about the Battle Pass, like the specifics to it, but the basics that I've heard about it, I really, really like. And I know Weirdbeard has talked a lot about it, and he's pushing for it, and I hope it goes through. I do like the idea of, you pay, like you said, $20 or whatever for the Battle Pass, and through, like you say, time and attention, playing every day, you can earn enough points or level enough or whatever the case may be to earn the next Battle Pass. And then that process keeps going. Work on the next season, level up, earn enough points, get the next Battle Pass, because that just engages players to play every day, gets them into the game, makes them feel like they're achieving something, and you always want, that next level, or you want that next skin, or that next new card, or whatever the case may be. So it keeps you playing on a constant level, and I think that's good. Plus, it would be revenue for the team that they can kind of know and kind of plan on. It's like, hey, we know we're going to sell X amount of battle passes every month, so that would help with revenue rather than just packs. So I think battle passes are a great idea.
I think the two work together so well, because I think you could have, I think it is another part of fighting the bot thing, where if there was a KYC component to a battle pass, it's optional. You don't need to have it. You don't need to fight for these reward cards if you don't want. But I think if you tie them in together, I think we really start to push against the bot farms. And then soulbound, like you said, remains soulbound. I think that pushes against the bot farms. You said you had a couple other ideas, but when I mentioned the bot farms and dissuading them, did you have something that you wanted to comment on there?
Yep, I have two comments. One is basically one that's right in everyone's face, and I think everybody kind of knows it, but hasn't really talked about it. And the other idea I kind of just came up with and probably will get a lot of backlash, but it's something that I think people can talk about and tweak and just kind of think about. The first point, and I think it's kind of an obvious point to get rid of the bot farms, is can't we just have a cap on how many games you can play every 24 hours?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically.
Yeah.
And the numbers I was thinking of is like if you're bronze and you're a new player, like I have a $10 account that I play, just kind of I put 10 bucks in, I'm not going to spend any more money. I'm not going to give it any assets from any of my other accounts. I just want to see what I can do. I never play anywhere near 50 matches a day on a bronze account.
Yeah.
So why don't we set like a bronze cap at 50, silver cap at 75, cap at 100. If you're in diamond and champion, play as much as you want.
Yeah.
Because there's really no reason to play more than 50 matches a day anyway. You're going to burn your ECR down and you're not going to be earning that many reward shares for chests anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, I
So
that.
I think the main thing, and what do bots do? They play 24/7. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this limits it. Okay, you can only play, 50 games in 24 hours on bronze, and then, whoop, you got to wait 24 hours before you can start playing again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
because also one of the things that bots are able to do is move around assets or rent assets to give collection power to certain decks that let them then play for a window of time. Let's say 48 hours rentals. If you're renting cards right now, you have to rent them for 2 days. So 48 hours from the time you rent a card to the time that, at minimum, that rental will expire. It's kind of guaranteed for that window. It has to be paid for that. It has to be honored to that from both ends, from the renter and the rentee. Which means that if you're supplying assets to a bot to grind, you can provide them assets and turn them on for 48 hours, play every second, play every 2 minutes or minute or whatever it is, submit your team, and they do. So that means like thousands of games a day for 2 days. And you're gonna, of
ridiculous.
course, you're gonna burn your ECR to the ground, but they don't care because they can then that those rentals are gonna expire, and they can go to a bot number 2 and bot number 3 and rotate while the ECR is recharging. And to me that reflects a problem, and I think you're totally right. Like, why? And I've heard people talk about this, and I've talked about this, but it actually just it hasn't stuck in my head as a continued, let's talk about this again. Like, why don't we have that? Like,
Yeah, why don't we? I mean, I would love to have a poll. Maybe you can do a poll on your channel, Dwayne, and
yeah.
just post it and let it run. How many games do you play per day, and what league are you in? Just on average. Just I'm just curious. Because
I'm
like I said, I try to earn 8 to 10 chests a day on my 3 accounts. I never play more than probably at most 30 to 35 battles in silver, and in bronze I have some cards rented. I can play 10 or 12 matches, get 8 or 10 chests, and I'm good.
gonna do a let's see, ask me.
Just kind of a range. I mean, I know people don't know specifically, oh, I played 37 matches today, but just kind of a range. Do you play 20 a day, 30 a day, 50 a day?
Right now I want to see if they even support a cap limit of games played, and we'll see what they I just dropped that in the chat, guys. And I'd want to understand, like, if the answer is like a resounding no or a resounding yes, I'd really want to understand.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want a cap limit?
Yeah, like, what I don't see I don't think anybody plays more than, well, other than bots doing what I just described. There are times where I will have nothing to do and I will play
Hmm.
I mean, maybe 50 games, maybe 60, but that's a lot of play.
Yeah, let's say 3 minutes per match if you have to wait the most amount of time, 20 per hour. Say you play for 8 hours straight. That's what, 160, something like that. I mean, that's 8 hours straight. I don't know too many people that do that. I
I
mean,
know.
and like I said, 75 is just kind of a number I threw out there for silver. Make it 100, 120. Just don't let it be multiple hundreds or multiple thousands of games that a bot can play in a day. I don't see any reason there wouldn't be a cap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a big winner. I can't at least imagine why you would have anything bad to say about that, except for, but then my bot armies can't play as much as I want them to.
And my second point, which I know people are not going to like at all, like I said, I haven't really thought this through for all the ramifications and how it would unfold. Just kind of off the top of my head, one way to limit bots, I think, would be what if you took all SPS out of rank rewards and loot chests, and all that SPS pool got moved to guilds and tournaments.
I mean, I love it, but yeah,
I know people are gonna hate it. It's gonna be like, oh, I can't earn. It's like, yeah, you can earn. Join a guild.
yeah.
Doesn't cost you anything to join a guild. If you're new to the game, you're gonna want to join a guild because you're gonna want to interact with people that have played the game, can teach you the game, how to build a deck, how to rent, how to use the market. Like I said, most people that are in guilds, I would assume, are people. I mean, maybe there are some bot guilds, but to my knowledge, most people that play tournaments and guilds are actual people, not bots. So you would be giving that SPS to the players, not the bots, because basically anything you give away in a loot chest that's sellable, the bots are going to exploit, whether it's cards, SPS, whatever. So you want to move sellable assets to people that you know are actually people, not to bots. So to
Yeah.
me, it's like, hey, let's get them out of rank rewards, let's get them out of loot chests, move it over to guilds, move it over to tournaments where we know people are playing. And the great thing about it would be if you're in a guild, you just saw a double or triple in your SPS earnings if they move all the SPS over.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an oof,
I
my
know it's rough. It like I said, I know a lot of people are not gonna like that idea, but I'm just trying to think
yeah.
for the long-term survivability of the game, if that might be something that they might lean to. And maybe they just do it for certain leagues. Maybe they just take the SPS out of bronze, since that's where most of the bots are. So like if you're in silver and above, yeah, you'll still get SPS and loot chests and rewards. But, you know, if they want to solve the bronze bot issue, that might be something they can think about.
I think that would be it might so I suspect that would have a beneficial impact on the bot farms. I also feel certain that there would be massive outrage over the implication of that, because it would be in the view of most of our community, not most of our, a loud majority of a community have the opinion that the rewards are constantly being nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and it's like it's this ever changing goalpost where people want to know. I've said this before. I think people want to know where they stand. Like, what do the rewards look like? If I want to grow what I'm doing here, I want to know that the foundation is firm. I don't want to be like quicksand where it's all changing all the time. Maybe that would be beneficial. I don't know that I would need to really kind of see the details of that, but I'd be nervous about that for one.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's just an idea that I threw out there. And like I said, I know a lot of people won't like it and it won't be popular, but like you said, with bots, it's like, what do you do? I mean, anything you give them away, they're going to take advantage of it. So
I liked what I heard recently on the town hall, where Nifty was saying, look, if you want to use Nifty Arcade, you can't be botting. And we have ways of knowing, and we will ban you for that. And then Aggie said, I like this. He goes, I like the fact that at the private level, at the third party level, we have this disincentive. We have this because the community doesn't like that, and the business Nifty can make that call, and fans will either support them in droves because they like how they operate, or not support them because they hate how they operate. That's financial incentive. That's free market economics. To me, that is a great thing because it actually means they have one less way to step into the game. And I think human players have one more way to step into the game. And if you don't know what Nifty is, guys, you can rent a deck of cards. There aren't enough of them out there yet, but Nifty is growing. They will rent you a deck of cards through an agreement with the person who has cards to supply, and you pay nothing up front. You just commit to earning with those cards. And for the window of time you earn, you agree to pay a certain proportion to the player. It's actually not even like you paying them. It's actually the system will automate, and maybe it's a 50-50 split, maybe it's an 80-20 split. The system will automate the value of rewards earned across the season and divide them amongst the provider of cards and the player with those cards. And I think that is an amazing door opening for new players also. I think there's a ton of things like this that can be this this incentive to new players, and that are going to grow what new players have access to, but that are going to accumulatively dissuade bots. And so I guess it's just, to me, it's like a slow and steady thing. And it's not like one big moment of like, let's quote unquote ban the bots, or let's dramatically revolutionize the reward structure. Even soulbound reward cards, in my mind, that's a big change, but it's not a revolution so long as we allow other reward cards to exist. And like you said earlier, let them just understand they probably aren't going to be the most expensive cards ever. They're going to be cheap because there's so many of them, but you still want them. You still want them because they have some financial value, and maybe they help you earn rentals and whatnot. There's a ton of comments in here. I also see that Jim's here. Maybe let me pull Jim in here. I would love to see what his thoughts are on some of this too. And stick with us, Gathering. I definitely want to keep talking about this.
Yeah.
Jimbo.
I'm just looking in the chat for the poll, and I see over 50% do not support a cap for number of games played per day. So I'm just curious if people would put in the comments, put in the chat why they don't want a cap, even if a cap is high, more than they would play in 24-hour period.
Yeah, I've been kind of waiting to see if a few more poll answers would just change that dramatically, but it's really stayed kind of decidedly no. I'm going to end the poll now because it's been on for a few minutes, and I think there's a reasonable, let's see, 20 votes. Oh. Hello? Hello? I don't know if I messed something up. I heard it ringing on my end, so I pressed join. Let me know when you guys have your... Hello?
Okay, I hear you guys.
Cool.
Hello.
Hey, Jim.
What's up?
Dude, okay. So thanks for popping on too, Jim. And let's take a minute here. I want to just check in with the chat a bit, and I want to reiterate Gathering's question. If you guys have feedback on why you would not support a cap to the number of games played, try and articulate that in the comment section. Let's help us understand where that's coming from, because frankly, I don't get it. So I want to give you a few minutes to kind of do that, and I'm gonna say hi to these guys again and reintroduce Gathering maybe. But I want to read some of the comments and just check in with some of the faces that I'm seeing talk. And let's see, we got Hewitt's been here the whole time, just blowing things up. Jim came in about 20-30 minutes ago, maybe. Thanks, buddy. Paul's here, and he made a comment about why would we need KYC for what's it called, for season pass. Maybe that's an argument that I would need to think through. I guess I was thinking it make sense because you wouldn't want bots to get those bonuses. But I guess if the bonuses are soul bound anyways, maybe it's totally fine. So long as they're soul bound and they're not unbindable, I think, because that brings us back, like Magic was saying, Gathering was saying, it brings you right back to the idea of, we're back to square one. I saw Elastios drop a comment earlier. He goes, Magic the Gathering in Hearthstone is totally free to play, and you can learn to play slowly without investing a dime. Then you realize you need to invest if you want to play competitive, so both models can live. I think there's a broader conversation there that I might have missed, but that comment makes me think he's saying it's easier to get into some games and just enjoy it at like a casual level, and Splinterlands doesn't necessarily offer that. So I'd love to hear some thoughts on that. But first, Bobby's out there. Good to see you, bro. And Alex, Chris, who else? Deus is still here. Love it. Jim, how you doing?
Hey, going on. I'm doing pretty good, but I wanted to add to that point right there that they were saying it's a little bit easier to enjoy other games casually in comparison. I think for Magic, it's because like they put out so many cards, right? It's like every single set they're putting out around 100 cards, and they're dropping 4 of those every single year minimum. And so they're not giving you high quality cards for you to use competitively, or if they are, it's only like 1, maybe 2 of. for you to mess around with. But
Okay.
you still need to go out and invest and get your 4 copies of these really good cards. So they're just giving you essentially bad cards for you to mess around with.
Okay. Gathering, Magic. Is that your view on how that works too? And do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, the problem with Magic now is they're just printing way too many sets per year.
So
And
much.
with all the drops of Secret Lairs and the tragedy that was the 30th edition,
Oh
just
my goodness.
overprinting,
$1,000
overpriced.
proxies,
Oh,
dude.
yeah, crazy. That's one of the reasons I got out of collecting Magic cards. Was I got into the game back in '95 when Ice Age and Revised were out, when the game was small and basically unknown. Collected for a few years, got back in around 2013, and at that point I just started collecting boxes to just save, because I saw boxes as a really good investment, even more so than single cards, just because single cards can be reprinted into oblivion, but you can't reprint, older boxes exactly the same. So, yeah, Magic has been a big turnoff for me lately, and I see Splinterlands as basically Magic the Gathering 2.0. Splinterlands is what Magic should be, where you have one main set, one smaller set that come out per year. It's on a set schedule. You actually own the cards, can sell the cards. So like I said, that's why I've gone from gathering the Magic to basically selling the Magic. Yeah, selling my Magic cards and getting into Splinterlands.
That's good. Elastios came back with a follow-up comment. He goes, Dwayne, that's exactly my point. We try so much to limit everything that the game will become, so that the game will become 100% bot-proof, but it will also potentially kill human player base, so we need to be careful. It needs to stay playable and fun on top of staying lucrative. Otherwise, it's no longer a game. It's another speculative token and with passive income. And I want to add to that, something I've been saying recently that strikes me about this game is we want this game to be, how did I say it? We want the game to be rewarding, but not exploitable. That's not exactly how I said it in previous videos, but that's now my new thing, where my hope for the development team is that they recognize we want there to be earning potential, but we want to minimize the exploitability of it. And that's probably a wide berth. Like, I mean, I think there's a lot of generality in that comment. What does that mean exactly? The devil's in the details, like I always say, but man, I think it's possible, it's conceivable that rewards can be enjoyable but not exploitable. That's how I said it originally. Enjoyable for every level, and yet not exploitable. And part of it is probably the soulbound cards, and part of it is probably a limited issuance on packs and a limited issuance on reward cards, and maybe SPS being rethought and how it's delivered and so on. But he's right. Isn't Elastios right that quote, if we're aiming at making it 100% bot proof, it could potentially kill human player base. We need to be careful. Talk to me about that. What do you guys think? Jim, you go first.
I know a lot of people have talked about this in the past, where it's like, oh, all of these problems that they're trying to fix with the bots are also affecting players. And I don't think anything is really easy to fix. Like you were saying, the devil's in the details. I'm not trying to think of overview ways to fix it. I'm also thinking of how can we really fix a problem, and I really don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this fixes it.
Gathering?
Well, if Nifty Arcade knows what a bot is, like if they're like, well, we know if it's a bot or not, can't they just let Aggie know, and Aggie can implement something where it's like whatever program they use that can tell if you're a human or a bot, let Aggie make the statement that, hey, if you guys want a bot, go ahead. We know that you're botting, and guess what? When you open your chest, there won't be any SPS in it. There won't be any reward cards in it.
So
but if you are a player and you are a person, they'll still be there.
So is there absolutely no way for Nifty to think that a playable character or someone playing isn't a bot or could be a bot?
Say that again.
So, they were saying that they know exactly who the bots are, right?
Yep.
But is there a way or someone that they could probably look like a bot to them. Because for aggro, right, for Splinterlands, they'd rather let 100 bots go through as long as they don't ban out one actual player.
Yep.
Rather than ban out a bunch of bots that they think are bots, and some of them could be players.
Yeah, I hear your point. So it's like, can they be 100% certain? And I think they didn't answer that question in the town hall, but I feel confident in saying there is no way to be 100% certain. There are ways to be very sure. And I've heard Tails talk about this. Tails is quite adamant around this issue. And actually, I've seen Aftersound be quite adamant around this issue. And I especially with Tails, I see a lot of the love you, Tails, buddy. Your content's amazing. You're one of my favorite channels. But I don't agree with some of your views around this issue of oh man, I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, the bots and how they are. It's easy. Oh, that it's easy to distinguish them from others. To me, there seems to be an implication from people such as Tails, who totally does his homework, to say, oh, this account is 100% for sure a bot. Look, I can show you blockchain data that is like really unquestionable. And true, like in some situations, true. Or recently I said Aftersound covered Philip Dew, which is one of the accounts on Splinterlands that has millions and millions and millions, like literally several percentage of all reward cards, of all common the current reward cards. Like they are a massive holder. So you can tell that these certain counts are bots. And the argument from them then is, we know who they are, let's just do something about them. But the problem is, it's not always that obvious. And what about me, who like at times in the past, I'm not running a bot right now, but at times in the past I've run a bot. And don't we get like, I get a little squirrely when and nervous. And somebody said in the chat, like, people who like blockchain don't like KYC. People who like blockchain don't like central authority governance saying X can't happen, Y can't happen, A, B, and C are fine. And that's me, where it's like, I don't want to trust, even if I trust Aggie and Matt to make those calls, or I trust Nifty Arcade to make those calls, I don't necessarily trust the next authority or governor, because these things change. And I just rather them be hands off about it. But it's a can of worms, so I don't know. It is tricky. But I think my point was, you can sometimes tell very easily, and I don't believe that you can always tell 100%. I just don't believe that. Rick on the mountains here too. Let's see. Okay, you know what? Let's circle back, guys. I feel like we answered that question a little bit about the similarity around Magic the Gathering and the possibility of earning to play, or playing for fun without significant cost. We also talked about earlier about how a season pass could maybe answer some of that, because it'd be a one cost, and it potentially could be.
Talk about something real quick.
Oh yeah, you got something you want to go with, Jim? Go for it, buddy.
So earlier, someone brought up the idea of get rid of SPS from ranked rewards.
Who could that be?
I personally would love to see that chaos unfold.
Like I said, I knew it would be crazy.
Yeah.
And so like, and Days in the chat was like, well, what would be the point of playing ranked at that point? Well, you still get all your other stuff, right? The cards, the potions, the merits, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think I'd be down to see it all go into guilds. That would be really cool.
The action around guilds. You have to admit, the action in guilds would be crazy. Like, you've seen me doing these videos lately about my guild brawls, maybe. I'm loving it. And every video I do, I'm like, guys, this is it. This is where the fun is. Like, get involved. It would be so much more intense but you know what? One of the main criticisms that comes to mind, if we ever did that, is I think we already have a place where guilds are so expensive to create meaningfully. So you need to then, like, even Time and Attention 1 is trying really hard to get into tier 4 of guild hall, or of the guild arena, and we are really close now. So, and we're crushing it in tier 3. We won the last one. We won the one before that. We are kicking some A, and it's awesome. Time and attention. Let's go. But
What
man,
level is your barracks at, Dwayne? Just to ask you real quick.
what's that, pal?
What is your barracks at in TNA 1?
Let me have a peek.
Because that's my biggest beef right now with TNA 3 that I'm in, is everybody's pushing to get the guild hall up and the arena up to get into the higher tier. We're already in tier 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to get our barracks up so we can ban opponents' cards.
Oh,
At
yeah.
least I'm getting slaughtered by Kiora, Yoden, Kitty.
Yeah.
It's like, I would love to be able to just ban those.
I know. We have level
Dude,
4. We have level 4, and you're right. I think we can ban 1 card at the level. Level 4 gives added 1 to the mana cap of all your guild brawls, and then we at level 3 you can select 1 card that the enemy cannot use in the home battles. And
what is
level-
your barracks at?
I think it's at 2.
Oh yeah, you guys got to raise that.
yeah, number 3
Yeah,
is
that's what
pretty
I'm saying.
clutch.
It's like I've been pushing for it, and it's like no one will listen to me. And I'm like, guys, it doesn't matter if we're in tier 5 if we end up in 9th or 10th place because we're getting crushed by cards we can't ban.
But
Yeah,
you know what though? It is really lucrative to be in the lowest levels of tier 4. Like really lucrative. I've still seen the stats of like the final finishers are getting 160 SPS, and they're just fielding teams that get just swept, but they're still getting 100. Whereas Time and Attention just won the last guild brawl, and we got I think 70 or something. Look, here it is. Look, we won it. I went 7-0 by the way. Love it. But we got 69 SPS for that and 6,900 merits, which is awesome. I love it. But this was very recently over 100. Tier 3 is growing rapidly. Tier 4 is probably growing rapidly also. But I know that you're getting over 100. I think it was 160 last I saw for the lowest participants in Tier 4. So food for thought.
Maybe it's the competitor in me. I'd rather win matches and have lower SPS than get double the SPS and lose every fight.
Mhm.
I also see it being like a cost effectiveness, right? Because moving from level 2 barracks to level 4, right? It's going to be 80,000 DEC and some crowns, 350, versus you climbing arena to be to level 7, 500,000 DEC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At that point as well.
You know what they could also do is they've done Christmas sales on packs now. What about a Christmas sale on guild buildings? Like once a year you say there's a Boxing Day sale and you can update your buildings for half the crowns. That's one of the barriers for our guild anyways. Like we have the DEC, we don't have the crowns. And this was all like I made an earlier point about how one of the things would be if we moved where SPS was taken out of rank reward chests but given entirely to guild brawls, that'd be fun for me and fun for the game and maybe even good long term. But I think ultimately it would hurt so many people who feel that there's so much barrier to making a very powerful guild. As you've noticed, Gathering, you guys can't get the buildings levels you want. I know that is the same thing. We all do. At every guild, it's the same thing. And so that would be like, again, if we want to open more doors for newer people to try, like we were talking about with Gathering them or with Magic, MTG, or with Hearthstone, you can play it with relative no cost. I think we almost want to. I think we should focus on like I said earlier, battle passes and whatnot. And I see a comment here that's kind of related. Paul, he was talking about how the game would have to, and because he's talking about bots, and he goes, the game would have to backtrack on its entire ethos to ban all bots, which will cause there to be no more game. I think that's true. And there was a pushback. Hewitt said, you don't have to ban the bots. You just take away their exploit, rewards for rental cards, and raising the mana cap in matches. No 12 or 20 anymore. At 30 or 40, the humans can be creative and win more. I like that more higher mana match options for sure. I don't know about the rewards for rental cards being changed, because rewards for rental cards, because I think the game, maybe I don't understand blockchain enough, but I think if you rent a card, it's on your account. Like you kind of, like for intents purposes, own that card. I don't know if there'd be a way to distinguish. Maybe there would be on a centralized level, the game saying this is a rental, this is an own, etc. But and then if you did do something like that, let me pose this question to you. If we changed how the rewards worked in a manner that rental cards had fewer rewards. Oh, nice. Elastios. Thanks, buddy. If we change the rewards so that rental cards don't garner as many, let's say, reward points and therefore fewer chests, wouldn't we undercut the value proposition of card ownership? Because one of the things about this game is that the cards have value because they earn rewards, and they can be delegated through a rental process that then allow the renter to earn rewards. If the rented card produces less profit, then the rental card has less value. No? Talk to me about thoughts on this. Maybe Gathering, I'll start with you. Any thoughts on changing it so that rental cards would operate differently or whatnot?
I'm real hesitant to change anything with the rental market, especially what you're proposing. So I will punt that over to Jim, so Jim
Cool.
can tackle that question.
Jim, you got any thoughts on that one? What do you think about what if we change rental cards so they had less rewards? Or is that even an answer to bots, by the way? Because that's the suggestion. It's like one of the things is they're just renting cards. Well, what if they just got fewer rewards for that? Maybe that's an answer instead of this bot ban. I'm not convinced, but what do you think, Jim?
Well, so yeah, that would definitely hinder the bots, 100%, right? But that's also going to hinder a lot of people. Like, a lot of people.
Yeah, you thought my idea of getting SPS out of chess would cause people to riot. This would really cause people to riot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Let's do both on the same day. Let's
Yeah.
get a hold of Aggie
You know
and Matt
what?
and say, okay, no SPS in chess, and screw the rental market. Go. See
Yeah.
what happens.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. If you get rid of it from the rental market, you're already not getting the SPS from rewards. So then you just be getting it from the guild brawls.
Yeah.
So what's the point of removing it from the reward rental cards if you just remove it from the rewards already? Unless we're saying, oh, we're going to give you half the chance of getting a card and double the chance of getting potions.
Yeah. Yeah. Take away, make mandatory KYC, eliminate, totally centralize the bot governance stuff and elimination of them. Take away all SPS, and then just see what happens with the audience.
Look, man, I'm all about watching the world burn, but I don't think this is the case.
No,
Dwayne.
yeah, I don't think so either. Rick says,
Jim,
Rick.
real quick, what are your thoughts on a daily cap for battles? I do see
Yeah.
a lot of comments now saying why. They say it would hurt players. They're like, well, what if I only have like a day or two to play? I'm not saying make it a low cap, but I mean, realistically, can you play more than, let's even say 200 or 250 matches in a day if you want to just grind for 12 hours?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. And a lot of people talk about like how it wouldn't be, or you bring up the bot things that can play 24/7, right? You can still set your cap of what you want your mana to be. So it's like there's still a max number of what the bot can kind of play.
Mhm.
So like for me specifically, when I was using Archmage, I made it to where I wouldn't go less than 70% or 75%. So if I was at 100%, it would grind a bunch of games out till it got to that point, and then every single hour it would do like a game or two, something like that. 4 games, I forget exactly what the number is. And so then you take that number, if it's 3 hourly, looking at 24 at that point, right? Every single day. So 72. And I was playing in gold, so if the gold cap was like 100, my bot still isn't going to get to that point.
Mm.
So at that point, why even have a cap?
Yeah. I think some cap makes, to me, it just makes perfect sense. I want to read a comment that says something like that. Is there a comment that you guys have seen in the chat that is like kind of articulates
Yeah, there was a couple where they were talking about, I think it just hurts players, kind
I
of
think it
limits
really
them.
hurts
But it's like,
players.
if you're a player, how much can you play? I mean, even if you're playing 12 hours a day, you're not going
Yeah.
to play 300 matches or
Yeah.
whatever they decide the cap should be. Just make it a high enough number that 99.9% of the players are never going to get close to, but somehow it'll keep the bots from, playing 4 or 5,000 matches a day.
That makes sense to me. I don't see why not. I'm just here to learn, make love, 12 love. DJ Bagman. Appreciate you,
Also,
dude.
how many bots are even playing that many games?
Say that again.
How many bots are even playing that many games?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I think, like I said earlier, there is an audience of bot runners who will do the like rent to play. Now, like some of the really crazy bots have just over time accumulated crazy CP through their own reward card collection, through the bronze rewards that used to exist. Now they're like they're self-sufficient, but there are newer bot armies that are getting going that are definitely using like a rent to play model, and they can rent for 2 days. That's the minimum. They can play their ECR to the ground across 2 days, which is hard for you to do. Like you could do it. It's hard for a human to do. When I was doing that, I was using a bot and then also playing. I was telling the bot to play as much as it could. I think they could do 10 games an hour or something like that with Splinter, whatever one I was using. I don't remember. And then I was playing also, and it was hard to do it. So you need to like have your own bot that runs every 3 minutes or something in order to really do that. Because once you start getting into like the 25%, it's only taking away 1% of whatever's left. It actually gets harder and harder and harder to burn down to zero, as opposed to from the first game burns 1%, the second game burns 1% of 99%, and so on. So it's hard. It's really, really hard.
I thought they changed that where if you're under 50% ECR, it goes down by
Oh,
5%.
my bad. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So you'll really burn through it once you get under 50.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's true. That was a little answer to some of this also.
Oh, I want to give a shout out to our guild leader in TNA 3. I did not check this morning. Last night he did upgrade our barracks to level 3, so now we can in cards. So thank you for that.
Cool. Let's see here. There's lots of great chat out there, guys, and I already did say, but thank you to I'm gonna say Alestios for the gold membership, dude. Appreciate you. And
He's awesome. He gave some memberships away too in Gank and Walking Keys channel too as well. I think he gave 5 free accounts, like a couple different times at least. So very generous, very awesome member of the community. So I do want to give him a shout out for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was watching when one of those happened, and I saw Keys doing his bubble dance.
Yep, the bubble dance.
Yeah, barely 150. What else? Is there anything? I see a really passionate conversation between Rick and Hewitt talking about the bots, but we talked about the bots. I feel I don't know that we have a lot more to add there. Is there anything that comes to mind that you guys want to talk about? Because I kind of think maybe one more topic, but I probably want to wrap up after that. It's been about 2 hours now already. And right now, guys, if you're listening and you've been enjoying this content and you haven't already dropped a thumbs up, please do. Helps the channel. And absolutely check out Gathering the Magic's channel. And also, Jim, what time are you doing? Because are you still doing your own thing on Twitch, aren't you?
Yes and no.
Okay. Are you doing anything right now, like that they should know about?
No. Just a lot of life stuff's been going on, and just trying to get through things,
Yeah. Same here, bro. Yeah. Okay. Well, Jim's usually here on Friday nights with me on Splinterlands TV, and always enjoy your stuff, dude. So, guys, make sure you're giving these guys love and supporting them, and appreciate you guys coming today. If there's any other comments from the audience that pop through, I'm happy to tackle that. Paul says, Dwayne Cunningham, pros and cons on a 14-day cooldown. 14-day cooldown. Is that for cards? Like renting between you, when I use it, then there's a 14-day cooldown, so you can't use it? Then you get left.
Somebody else had a comment too about delegating cards. I've never really done anything with that, and they suggested maybe getting rid of the whole delegation system. That might help limit bots. What are
I
your
don't know
guys'
about
thoughts
that.
on delegating? Is there a purpose for it? Why not just rent?
I mean, I
Uh,
delegate like 800,000 power to my buddy Mike, who's new to the game, and he
yeah.
he came
Yeah.
to Splinterfest with me. And shout out to Mike. I don't know if maybe he's watching, but he came and he never played this game, and just he saw the game for the weekend. He loves gaming. He saw the game and was intrigued. Started playing a starter deck. Created his account. Didn't understand ECR or anything. Played it down to 10% in the first day, and using starter cards. He's like, "How do I earn cards?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, you just play the game and you'll earn RP." And he's like, "Oh, I'm at 10% ECR." The guy just like played and played and played because he liked it. He discovered it and he liked it. So I threw him some of my assets that were, whatever. So I use delegations from time to time, or to support a TNA member who is going into some sort of battle or needs something. It's more from that perspective, but I guess really it's one and the same as the rental market. That ability and utility is just the same. It just means there's no fee associated. I don't know. I don't see a benefit to maybe taking away that. I do maybe see some interesting considerations. I don't know if it's better, but considerations around this idea of a 14-day cooldown between those usages, because that sure would kill, any sort of passing assets around. It would really make rentals would have to be of season long. You'd have to rent cards for 14 days to make that financially viable for them to then have a 14-day cooldown between usages. Wow, that would be a huge change to how the rental cards work, how delegations work, and maybe a detriment to new players looking to seek assets. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I got a question for us, guys.
Yeah,
If you could make one change to the game, anything you want, what is it?
I can make a change to anything I want.
Cap to daily rank battles. Definitely.
That would be your one change?
Yes.
Okay.
The community would vote. It would be a proposal. They're going to say, we are going to put a cap on ranked battles. Let us know your feedback as to what you want that cap to be. 100, 200, 300, whatever. But
Yep.
definitely a daily cap. That's, to me, in my mind, that's the only way you're really going to help eliminate the bot problem and not hurt players. And like I said, it'll be up to the players. It's a proposal. Hey, how much do you guys play? How much do you want to play? If you're able to play 300 matches in a day, great. We'll set that as the limit. But there has to be some sort of cap. That would be my number one thing that I would propose.
Paul's saying, in answer to your question, Jim, Paul's mentioning, further elaborating on his comment, he goes, Dwayne, a cooldown for playing cards in ranked battles so the bots can't play down to 50% ECR and then move the card to another account to do that again and again and again. And I think my answer to your question would be something, it's probably, it's a combination of these factors. It's like something to dissuade bot stuff. And you said one thing I could do. So I'm saying season pass with that brings into the game soulbound reward cards. To me, that's one thing. And that to me ties in with this conversation that we've just almost underlies every conversation about Splinterlands, which is how do we make this enjoyable and have earning potential for players who want to play, but not exploitable by bots. That is like almost at the corner of every conversation. And I think season passes that have lots of aesthetic, non-monetary rewards, but also have soulbound reward cards tied to it, and probably splinter coins that are non-liquidable. Like, you can't sell them into the marketplace, but you can buy them for burning mechanics. I think there's so many benefits that come out of that would have the trickle-down effect of having negative implications for bot armies, or at least more like a disproportionate benefit on real players. So to me, that's a negative on bot armies. So that'd be my change. Jim, did you have one in mind?
Yeah, I think the biggest one we would have to really do for people, and this is going to change the game a lot. We're just going to destroy all Kelias, and I think this game would get a lot better, honestly.
Oh, of course you did.
Did that apply to Lux too, or just Kelia?
No, I didn't say anything about Lux.
That's right.
Uh,
We all need to
Get
start
rid of
burning
Kelia
our
baby
Lux.
steps, right?
If anybody out there has any gold Luxes, I think we should just make a proposal where you have to burn them because it's just too much like Kelia, and it's Kelia, gross.
Whoa! What do you mean it's too much like Kelly?
I'm just saying, I don't know who's got gold foil Luxes, but I mean, the rich keep getting richer, and I don't like it, guys.
Well, I don't know about rich keep getting richer.
For those who don't know, Jim's got a gold foil Lux, and he's been taken to burning all the Kelias, and we need to raise a proposal to stop this madness. Is what we need to do.
You know, am I still the only one who's burned a gold foil Kelia?
Probably. Let's have a peek.
Let's take a look here.
Splinter cards. No, Splinter.
You don't want it, just send it my way. You don't have to burn it.
No. It's about sending a message.
You need that Kelia to know where you stand. Are you?
Still the only one.
Gold foil. Where is he? She's amazing too. Her artwork's amazing. The color scheme is amazing.
Whoa.
The
what
gold.
do you mean artwork's amazing? It's a female dwarf without a beard, Dwayne.
She just shaved it today, buddy. That's all.
She didn't just shave it today. It's been like this for months.
She knew her
almost a year.
She knew her staff photo was that day, so she went and shaved it. She got a nice clean shave, so she doesn't have the shadow happening. But otherwise, it's perfect. Look at this, guys. Look at this.
Yeah, end the stream.
Look at the
one. Yep, there it is.
Look at this foolishness over here. Who would do such a thing? Guys, I am going to leave it there, but first I just want to say thank you, a special thank you to Gathering and also to Jim. You guys are amazing. You took time on a day off of work and come hang out and talk Splinterlands, but also the audience here has been crazy. Alistios, like with the big gold membership, dude, check out the members only section on my channel. There's a bunch of extra content there, stuff that'll maybe let you know a bit more about me. I play other games. I talk about my family and things like that. So check that out. Also, we do members only live events that are usually once a week on Thursdays or Wednesday mornings. So kind of TBD. I probably will do one this Wednesday, guys, for my members only. This is a public event, but I'll do a members only. And I'm usually doing that in kind of roughly the same time zone. So if you like this time, look for me on Wednesday if you're one of the members of the channel. Gathering is usually there in the chat. Jim is usually there. Bobby's always there. Rick's been there more recently, and he's got that salt. Look at the comments from Rick over here.
Oh, dude, he's so mad today.
Yeah, he's throwing up the fist. I love it.
And Rick are going off.
Yeah, that's good, guys. No, passion.
Here's one point I want to leave everybody with that's negative on the game or thinks the game is dying. Look at the chat right now. Look at how passionate everyone is, either for or against. And this is the main reason why this game is not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a passionate community, the game will thrive. When you have a community that is not in the chat, doesn't care, doesn't say anything, that's when you need to start getting worried. So I just want to say thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Jim. Just thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks for your passion. I'm telling you guys right now, 2023 is going to be a great year. There's going to be ups and downs, but I see nothing but good things ahead for Splinterlands. And let's figure out a way to get the Magic the Gathering community here, because if they ever implement, we didn't talk about this, draft tournaments, you're going to see this game explode.
Man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll have to have you back.
Thanks, guys.
We'll have to have you back next time to get into that one, because I know that's we talked briefly in this video, just saying it's something that I don't properly understand or appreciate, and I know there's a whole community that does. So let's do that at a separate time, and we'll do a video specifically unpacking that. And I'd love to get your thoughts. But guys, I can't say it any better than Gathering just did. Jim, love you, buddy. Gathering, thanks for popping by. Guys, Merry belated Christmas, Merry Boxing Day to you. I hope you guys are having family and you're just peaceful and restful today, and you got lots of joy. And hopefully, if you're going through some stuff, that you at least have peace in this moment, and you can just have a breath and step back from the kind of hustle and bustle that was 2022, and just have some rest here for a couple days. So, thanks for hanging out. Have an amazing day.